Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt.
It's a new decade, it's a new year, and we're kicking it off right with a new episode of Pass the Salt. Speaking of kicking things off, CES is getting started this week, and among all the crap, there's always a few gems there. As the news from Media Day starts trickling in, it seems as though the first gems is brought to us by Nvidia and Asus with their 360Hz monitor. The Asus ROG Swift is the world's first 360Hz gaming monitor with G-Sync, standing with a 1080p panel and 24.5-inch screen size. Demonstrably, the monitor is quite smooth, even over 240Hz. Asus has yet to announce a release date besides later this year, and of course, no starting price yet, but I'd personally expect it somewhere in the $1,000 range. Now every CSGO 1B Pro will endlessly claim they need a 360Hz monitor to perform well, so thanks Asus. Privacy and Android. Name a more non-iconic duo. Yeah. It looks like Samsung may have been caught not only contracting out a system-level app for their phones, but contracting out to a rather shady Chinese company. After some digging, Reddit user KChaxker discovered that Samsung's storage scanner, a module in their device care suite present on all modern devices, a company according to the Reddit OP has generated a meme status for itself in China and Taiwan, similar to how antiviruses here in the English-speaking world have become memes themselves. Qihoo has been shown not only to partner with the Chinese government, but also use shady tactics to get their users to install their products. If that wasn't bad enough, the Reddit OP went on to claim that he set up a testing environment and that he found his phone was communicating with Qihoo servers domained in China when updating the antivirus database on his phone. And if that wasn't bad enough, the packets weren't even sent with HTTPS. While this point lacks independent testing, verifying that the storage scanner on Samsung devices made by Qihoo is simply enough to do. After all, it is printed right there. For those paranoid among you, several workarounds for rooted and non-rooted devices can be found in the Reddit thread linked in the description below. Quite honestly, this is disappointing from Samsung. You'd think the second most premier smartphone company in the world would develop their own tool for device care such as this, or at the very least, do a bit of research on who they are contracting this out to. This gets even weirder when you consider that South Korea and China don't have the greatest relationship with each other. In the meantime, and hopefully this garners the attention of Samsung, we can lament in the fact that Xi Jinping knows what porn we watch, and may or may not have seen our nudes. Moving on, but still talking about Samsung, they have some announcements this week, both voluntary and involuntary. The first of which being the announcement of the S10 Lite and the Note 10 Lite phones, both of which are essentially spec'd the same, but their differing factor being the inclusion of the S Pen on the Note 10 Lite. Both phones feature a centered pinhole camera cutout on the screen, much like the Note 10s, but the size of the aperture has been reduced. Furthermore, the back camera array for these two new devices appear to be in the style that leaks would suggest we'll see in the next generation of Samsung's phones. The phones will be on display at Samsung's area at CES 2020, and it looks to be targeting the $500 to $750 range. Why Samsung would release these phones a month and a half before their Unpacked event, where they undoubtedly announced their next generation of flagship phones, is beyond me. Speaking of Samsung's Unpacked, Samsung involuntarily announced their next Unpacked event when the invitation leaked online. After this leak, Samsung promptly announced it for real. This event is slated for February 11th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The announcement graphic features two white squares orientated right side up and diagonally, in the place of the A's in Galaxy. These two shapes have caused the denizens of the Samsung community to try to produce renders of what the shapes might represent, much like how your high school English teacher is pretty convinced those curtains being blue in the book is an allegory for the author's depression. The renders, which have gained some traction, seem to indicate that the first square is indicative of the new rear camera cluster, and the second square representing the long-rumored clamshell Galaxy Fold. I just hope to God that Samsung doesn't maintain two budget variants of the phones, that being the E and Lite monikers respectively. And with that, that's going to do it for this week's tech-related salt. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at tech_for_thought. And if video games are more your thing, check out our affiliate website, cultureofgaming.com, for all your latest gaming news, reviews, and opinion pieces.